We begin with Rudy Giuliani and my exclusive interview with a longtime advisor to Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky, Igor Novikov, now a former advisor. Novikov was listening in via speakerphone to Mr. Giuliani's stunning requests for Ukrainian officials to investigate Joe Biden when he was running for the Democratic nomination and to claim that the former Ukrainian government, not Russia, was responsible for hacking the Democratic campaign in 2016. That call just 3 days before what former President Trump then called the perfect phone call with Ukraine's President Zelensky that led to the first impeachment. So what did you hear Rudy Giuliani saying to President Zelensky's top advisor?
He wanted two things. It was all about a smear campaign on then not even a candidate Biden, Joe Biden. So basically, first request was multiple investigations. So he wanted Burisma investigated. He wanted the situation with ex-prosecutor General Shokin investigated. And he was especially interested in getting Ukraine to make a public statement and possibly back it up. This crazy allegation that it was Ukraine, not Russia, that meddled in 2016, which is obviously ridiculous, but that's what he wanted.
So he wanted President Zelensky to blame Ukraine for the hacking, the investigation into the Democratic Party in 2016.
Exactly.
This call, Rudy Giuliani to the President Zelensky's advisor, comes just before his phone call with the president. So he was setting the stage for it.
3 days before. And the reason for that phone call was that we got the information that Mayor Giuliani was playing a major part in actually affecting the policy towards Ukraine. And we wanted to double check whether that was the case. So that was reason number one. Reason number two, as far as we knew, he was already engaged in certain conversations with Ukrainian intermediaries, and we wanted to get rid of them because they were distorting the messaging, obviously, for their own political benefit.
So at the time, Rudy Giuliani is the president's friend, associate, sometime lawyer. He has no role with the State Department, but was he also affecting policy?
Well, from our side, it seemed that was the case, unfortunately. I mean, even the title changed throughout the phone calls. So he began the conversation by introducing himself as President Trump's personal lawyer. But then in the middle of the conversation, he already became his advisor and friend. And towards the end of the conversation, he was pretty much going in parallel with Kurt Volker, saying that, like, okay, well, feel free to talk to President Trump about calling President Zelensky. I'll talk to him as well, and so on and so forth. So we were under the impression that he was up there in terms of forming policy towards Ukraine.
Did you ever know of anything else he did regarding U.S. policy or what he wanted President Trump to get from Ukraine?
There were a lot of it was all about the smear campaign against Joe Biden, but there were a number of interesting episodes. I mean, his trip to Kiev alone was very strange and peculiar. There was, by the way, another attempt at a quid pro quo. So basically, we wanted President Trump to voice support for President Zelensky before the Normandy summit, so before his first ever meeting face-to-face with Vladimir Putin of Russia. And we kind of passed along that request to Rudy, and the response that we got through one of his intermediaries was, okay, I guarantee you that President Trump will tweet a tweet of support for President Zelensky. But in exchange, I want President Zelensky to meet with me as soon as I step off the plane in Kiev.
So everything was transactional?
Everything was transactional, and it wasn't right. It didn't feel right, let's put it this way.
How did you feel when you were listening to it? What did it make you think?
I was shocked, I was scared, and I was bewildered because I expected that phone call to be just a casual kind of nice to meet you phone call, and we had, at least I tried briefing Andrei Yermak to try and take that angle about Rudy Giuliani's past as mayor of New York and about his involvement with Ukraine prior to this whole situation, and try and distract but also by assessing, the level to which he influences U.S. policy towards Ukraine. and the phone call just made the U-turn as soon as Mayor Giuliani opened his mouth.
And when you're hearing this and you know that Ukraine needs military assistance from the United States, what concerns did you have about possible linkage between these political demands and what you knew to be the national security of your country?
Well, luckily for us, we only found out that we had the military assistance frozen at a presidential level, i.e. President Zelensky, Andriy Yermak and me. We only found out on August 28th. So more than a month after that. Had we known earlier, that would have been just frightening, because you have to put yourself in our shoes. I mean, we are neophytes in politics. We had nothing to do with whatever was happening between Lev Parnas, Igor Fruman, Mayor Giuliani, anyone else, and Ukraine. And here we are, the new people. We wanted to start anew, and then if that was the response that we got and the treatment that we got, it was petrifying, because we had this kind of joke going around in Bankova saying that, like, look, if they're doing this to us now and we haven't done anything bad to them, can you imagine if we do something bad to them? What will happen to Ukraine?
Do you have concerns now that President Zelensky and the Ukrainian government are beginning to ease the reforms, let the oligarchs backed by Russia back in, trying to appease, if you will?
I have deep concerns. Why? Because we are witnessing the rise of the oligarchs. We're witnessing not stalling reforms, we're witnessing backtracking reforms at the moment. The situation at NAK Naftogaz is just mind-blowing. I mean, that
is the major energy conglomerate, state-owned.
Yeah.
And does Putin benefit from this?
With Ukraine, there's one simple rule. Something that doesn't benefit the people of Ukraine always benefits Putin. There's a connection there. So, but I am deeply concerned, and I think over the last year we saw a lot of pro-Russian appointments. For some reason, we are seeing skyrocketing corruption. We're seeing backtracking on reform. We're seeing terrible handling of the COVID pandemic. I mean, we had a year to prepare, yet, at this rate, most likely it'll take a few years to get at least 50% of the people vaccinated. And we have Russia at our borders basically kind of waiting to pounce. So the US-Ukraine relationship at the moment is as important as ever.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.